Hi there, it's Jen, and thanks for joining me. Today I'm doing a mixed media watercolor project, and I am using some Canson XL watercolor paper, some stencils and textures, and I'm doing a bunch of layering. So I had a lot of fun with this project, and I am so excited to share it with you. So I am taking a piece of it's just packing material from something, I think from scrapbook.com. So it's just kind of like chipboard, I guess. It's just not it's not as thick. It's kind of like a cereal box, a little thicker than maybe a cereal box material. But I'm going to glue the Canson XL watercolor paper on top of this to give it some support, since this isn't going to be on a card or in a book. It's going to be kind of a freestanding project that I'm just going to display on its own, not in a frame or anything. So that would have been probably fairly hard to do with just a piece of paper. So I needed that support, and so that is why I went ahead and attached the watercolor paper to the board. I attached it with a gel medium, but any kind of glue will work. And now I'm taking my Liquitex modeling paste and using this Tim Holtz stencil, this really pretty Tim Holtz stencil. It just looks kind of vintagey to me, and I'm just going over different places on my base to kind of give texture. And this dries fairly quickly, at least here in Arizona. It dries fairly quickly. I don't know about other places, but everything dries really quickly because it is so dry. And in fact, my little bottle of Liquitex is drying out, even though I put the lid on it. It's probably drying out a little bit quicker than maybe it would somewhere else. But the good thing about this is on the right hand side, that second little piece, that I'm going to scrape that off right now because I didn't like that it was just a partial image, I guess you could say, and so I wanted more of a full image, and so I just went ahead and scraped that off and took some more texture paste and redid the stencil, and it turned out just fine. So I'm going to set this aside after I complete and let it dry. And then I will be making another piece to go as the centerpiece on this project. And for that I am using this clay, and it's air dry clay. And I got this modeling clay actually from Walmart. And then I'm just taking my brayer to roll it out. It's not super thin, but it's not super thick. Maybe 1/4 of an inch, maybe a bit less than that. And I'm taking this heart stamp. It's got a lot of texture on it, or a lot of detail on it, I guess. And I want that impression on my modeling clay because this is going to be the main centerpiece of my project. And so I just go ahead and push that into the modeling clay. Really easy to work with. I have never used this before. I actually have purchased the paper clay from Prima through scrapbook.com, and I don't know, I think it was like more expensive than for the amount that you get. And so I saw Walmart and I saw this modeling clay, and I figured it's probably about the same thing. And so rather than try out this, which I've never tried before, on a more expensive product, which was the Prima product, I decided to just go ahead and try it with this modeling clay, and it worked fantastic. This would be a great thing to do with not just mixed media projects like this, but for like making your own embellishments, for putting on cards. It's really easy to work with. You don't have to bake it, you just let it air dry. And so I let this dry for about 24 hours, and you can see the stamp, the kind of impression it made. And this didn't leave any residue on my stamp or anything like that. It cleaned up very easily. And so I went ahead and I let that dry about 24 hours, and then I started working on my panel. And so all I'm doing right now is taking my Gansai Tambi, or the Kuretake, I don't know what the name is. I'm probably not saying it correctly. And I just took a few different stamp pads to make it so that it was leaning, so that the watercolor would drip down the page like it is. And I love the way that watercolor or water with whatever color it is, Brusho's works good with this also. I just love the way that it looks when it runs through the texture. I just think it's so beautiful. So I'm taking these watercolors because these are the best ones that I have. I have different types of watercolors, but these are the best quality ones that I have. So that's why I'm using these. But I really love this color. I just think it's so beautiful. And I don't know which number this is right on offhand, because that's how they the colors in this set are labeled, is by number and some Chinese writing, so I'm not really sure what colors they are, but I'll go ahead and leave the colors below in the description, and I will also leave the colors on my blog post, so if you want to check that out, you can. But so I go ahead and take the brown color and do that around the edges, and I just think brown and pink is just a beautiful, beautiful combination of colors. So I'm just going to go ahead and do mainly the edges, and I'm going to continue to watercolor this and play some music. And if you want, you can go ahead and fast forward to after the watercoloring. I find watercoloring really relaxing, and I love to watch it. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and play some music, and I'll catch you back later in the video. Such happy music. I love that. So now I'm taking the clay heart, and I'm just taking some gesso and painting it over in white. I had a lot of trouble getting this heart how I wanted it, and I have several layers over the top. So this is actually, I've colored it and then I've painted gesso over it. And then I wanted to try out these Prima powders and waxes that I got. I haven't really used them, and so I wanted really badly to try them out. This was not the project to try them out, but I can't remember. I did so many layers on this because I wasn't happy, and then I would put gesso back on the top of it. So I ended up using this color, which is kind of a clay color, and then a pink color. And I wouldn't be able to say the names even if I knew what they were because they have some fancy like French names. And so I will go ahead and leave the names of the colors below if you're interested in that. But I just go ahead and take this, and it ended up, I think, being a little bit too dark for the watercolor panel, and so I do go back and take some gesso and lighten it up a bit, and then put some of the pink watercolor over the top. But for this portion right here that I'm showing, I do go ahead and kind of spread the colors around. The butterfly I did when I first started decorating it. I actually did that in a Spectrum Noir blue glitter pen, but since it's been painted over with gesso lightly, it's taken away the glitter, so you can just see the blue butterfly. There's actually another butterfly on this in the top right hand corner, but it's colored right now in pink, so you can't really tell. But I think you get the gist of the stamp. So I'm gonna just dry this, but I do believe that I go back over this with gesso. So here I'm taking one of the waxes, and like I said, I just wanted to really use these products so badly because I haven't really used them. So this is one of the Prima waxes, and this is white gold, and I do end up using this also on the watercolor panel. These things are so beautiful, especially the opal waxes. The opal waxes on a dark colored surface, they just are absolutely stunning. So I saw a video by Cherished Treasures, and she had done like a Michael's, what's new at Michael's a while back. And she had shown some Prima stuff in her Michael's store, and some of the waxes and the powders and the silicone brushes and the molds were all stuff that were new. And I went to my Michael's today and they didn't have it, so I was kind of sad about that. But it will be very cool once these are in the store, because, you know, Michael's always has coupons. And so I can't wait for that to happen. So I am so excited that Prima is coming to Michael's with these products. At any rate, I go ahead and do the corners of this panel with the rose gold, which I think is really pretty. It kind of gives it a little bit of a shine. But what I was going to say about these waxes are they smell so good. They have this scent to them that is just, it's like an air freshener almost. They just smell really good. I don't know what they put in them to make them smell like that, but it just is a heavenly scent to me. So I go ahead and go over the panel with this, and this is, I think, easiest to do with your finger, unless you have to get into like any crevices or stuff, then it might be easier to use some type of a brush. But I am no expert on these. Like I said, this is probably about my first time using them, other than just kind of, you know, opening them up and seeing what the colors were and putting them on something. But so at this point, I have taken some more gesso on my heart, and I have matched the color because I put a little bit more of the pink watercolor on it, so I think it matches much better now. But you can still see some of the brown from the powder. So what I'm doing now is I have these corners that I got from a Michael's pack, and I'm just going to take some gesso, and the color on those is a little bit ivory, and so I kind of wanted a little bit more of a white, and then I wanted to tone down the pink flowers, so I go over lightly over those two squares, and then I take these other, I think these are Prima flowers right here, or they're petaloo, I think they're petaloos, and I'm mixing gesso with the watercolor to give it a little bit of a pink shade on the flowers, just really subtle and light so that it matches the rest of the piece. And I don't know if I mentioned, I think I did, I had so much fun with this. Making cards is totally different than mixed media, and I just I absolutely love this. So I'm taking this Fabrifix glue, and this is really heavy duty glue. The only bad thing about this glue is that it has a very strong odor. So it is best to use it in an area that is well ventilated, but it is excellent for adhering all of the layers that I'm going to be adhering, especially that clay heart. I think it's probably the best type of glue to use that I know of, and I got it from Hobby Lobby, so it's something that you can definitely pick up. So I adhered the corners, and then I'm going to take some cheesecloth and kind of put that down and see where I want that on my project. And I just thought, I do go over this cheesecloth very lightly with some watercolor, but I think the white is a good breakup of all of the pink. I don't really think there's probably enough actually brown on it to break it up, so I think the white just really kind of breaks up all of that pink color. So I'm just going to kind of mess with the cheesecloth and get it kind of how I want it, kind of, you know, a messy, organic look, and then go ahead and use my Fabri-Tac and glue that down. And then I will place the heart on the center. And although the heart's not like super heavy, it is a piece of clay, and so it is a lot heavier than, you know, another item that you might be putting on here. So that's why the Fabri-Tac is excellent for mixed media projects. So I'm very happy that I was able to find that at Hobby Lobby. So I really glue this up, and this stuff holds strong because I've checked my project. I have it sitting up upright, and nothing has moved. So I go ahead and adhere my heart, and then put adhere the cheesecloth in several areas just to get it. And it is kind of hard to work with because that glue is so sticky, and the cheesecloth is so thin. And then I'm going to go ahead and take, I think I go ahead and take the glue and adhere my flowers, and then I also adhere some little pearl kind of like baubles, I guess you could say. And I got those, some of those are Prima and some of them are just a pack from Hobby Lobby. And then after that I will I actually take a pearl brad and cut the brad pieces off and adhere that also. But again, I'm just going to play some music until probably about the very end, because there's not much more to talk about, and it's about done. The very last thing that I do put on this though is a piece of, I called it texture tape, but it's not really texture tape. It's actually something that you can pick up. I saw it at the the 99-cent store today. It's for tape and texture, so it's like that drywall tape that is used for the seams, I believe. It's kind of like a grid tape. It's got a sticky back, so I didn't have to use any glue on that to put that on my piece. I just put it over the top and wrapped it around the sides, and it fit perfectly. And I've used it on cards before, and it's really cool to put watercolors through it. But at any rate, I will see you towards the end of the video, and I'm going to play some music again. So I hope you enjoyed the music. If you didn't, please don't send me hate comments or angry comments. I tried to find stuff that was kind of upbeat and happy, but I'm like not a music mixer, so the styles of music are kind of way off. But the video is about over. So basically, what I'm doing here, this last part, is taking some little pearls on a string and putting the sentiment, which is a Tim Holtz sentiment. It says follow your heart, and that will complete this project. Like I said, I had a ton of fun with this. I loved it so much, and I look forward to doing a lot more of this type of thing. So I hope you enjoyed it also, and if you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment below. And if you like this video or found it informative, please give me a thumbs up, because it lets me know that people are watching and that people are liking it, or learning from it, or maybe getting new ideas. I guess that's it for me today. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I will catch you back here next time. Thanks so much.